So just a walkthrough on today's activity, which is statistical graphs for quantitative data. So click on that, see the instructions. We have a link. We're going to go there. We're going to do the usual step of selecting File, make a copy, get rid of the copy of, dash your last name, and then make a copy. And just for good habit building, I would get my share link now, or at least change the settings. So share, instead of restricted, we make it anyone with the link. We make it editor, and then we copy that link. All right. That link is what you submit to Schoology. Now, we do have the solved examples here, and I'll do a walkthrough, right? So, based off the examples. Now, most of these graphs are manageable enough. The one that's weird is the stem plot, right? Because there's a little bit of code that you have to include there, maybe a lot of code, right? So we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to focus in this video on dot plot and stem plot. All right, so that's what you'll be responsible for today. All right, so you'll notice that I ranked all the values in that first column. So the subject of this data set is runs scored by the American League over 21 All-Star games. All right, so these are over a 21-year period. These are the number of runs that were scored. Right, I put them in order, right? So it's not necessarily the distribution of what happened. It wasn't like in the year 2000, no runs were scored, and then in the year 2001, 2 runs. It wasn't like that. All right, but what we do is we rank them. So for each unique number in the list, we start off with the number 1, and if there are multiple ones, we increment up to 2 to 3 and so on. Right, so there's only 1 0. For the 2s, we have 3 of them, so you'll see here that I went 1 2 3. For the 3s, there's 2 of them, so 1 2. For the 4s, there's 4 of them, so 1 2 3 4, and so on down the list. Right, so then what we do is we highlight both columns of data and go to Insert, Chart. Google Sheets and Excel will make an assumption over what they think you want in terms of a graph. This happens not to be what we want, so we're going to go down the list and we're going to select Scatter. We'll have to do some customization here, right? So we go to Customize. First thing I'm going to change is the labels, the titles and everything. So the chart title is not a histogram, all right? So this is a dot plot of runs scored. You can put the whole title in, but just something to get you the gist, or get the reader the gist of what it is you're working on. So that's good. On the bottom here it says runs scored by AL over 21 All-Star games. That's perfect. That's what we want. So I won't worry about the horizontal one. The vertical one should be frequency. All right, so you make that change. Now it's labeled correctly. You see here I have a couple of dots that are off the page. So now, since it's displaced on the vertical side of things, I'm going to go to vertical axis. You see that you have the option to input manually a minimum and a maximum value. So I'm just going to change my maximum to something bigger than 4, so 5 for example, and that makes a nice looking graph that I can resize and put in the solution area. So I'm going to take a slightly different approach. So for a stem plot, I'm actually just going to copy paste over from the solutions. I'm going to pop that into K2. All right, so I'm going to explain what each part of this does. So we have the minimum value in this column, the maximum value in this column, the range, which is the difference between the minimum and the maximum value. All right, so, but I'm scaling it down because I only want the tens place of the particular number. So the range will go from 4, well, it'll go from the smallest number 35 to the largest number 77. So the minimum value should not be 40 because we're starting in the wrong place. So let me change that to H3. So smallest value is 35, largest value is 77. And you'll see that the range is now 4, and we have calculations in here that should range from a tens place of 3 to a tens place of 7. So every now and then you run into row reference problems. So in this case, this should be an H3. And once you do that, the graph will automatically update and you'll be all set. All right, the one thing I asked you to include is a key indicating what the numbers in the chart actually represent. So in this case, 3 vertical / 5 is equal to 35. Just one example is all you need. All right, and so this will automatically make stem plots for you.